hit the like button, hit the bell notification so you can get tuned into the channel. Now I'm gonna have to edit that. So we're gonna take it from the top. Yo, I'm Marcus. You're the channel of the Debt Free Dad. Finances, attorney reactions. In this video, we're gonna talk about why I saw that my mic was jacked up and nobody was on yet to tell a brother. But we're going to talk about why are we seeing an influx of all of these cases filed in federal court in New York. Everybody's just getting sued for sexual assault allegations. DFD, why is this happening? People have been hitting me up in text messages. Hey, what's going on, sis? What's going on? And congratulations on your achievement as well, too. Shout out to you. We're going to talk about why all these lawsuits happening, why they're all being filed in federal court in New York. And I just kept getting hit up with article after article after article today. We had Diddy, who settled his case in 5.2 seconds. Then we had L.A. Reid, who was next up on the docket. Then we had a former executive at Bad Boy, Harve Pierre, who has a lawsuit filed against him today. Then we have Marcellus Wiley, former NFL player, retired NFL player, used to be on, I think, Fox Sports 1 or ESPN, one of those networks. He's caught up in a sexual assault lawsuit. Now we have Jimmy Iovine. Someone just sent me literally like 10 minutes ago. Jimmy Iovine, music boss, really close ties to Eminem and Dr. Dre. He's caught up in a sexual assault lawsuit. And Jamie Foxx is caught up in a sexual assault lawsuit. So we're going to talk about the Jamie Foxx one a little bit. I had a chance to do a quick skim of it. I really didn't read it, and we definitely going to make it short, even though his complaint isn't that long. And I don't think any of these are going to be as detailed from a factual basis, even though they're just complaints, as the Diddy case was, because it was just such a long-ass 10 years of conduct, just makes it factually, it's going to be juicy as hell. There's going to be so much facts in there in detail because the time period was so long. So, again, tune in, subscribe to the channel. I'm a professional, but I'm not your professional. Go find another attorney or finance person. Don't come to me for it. It's infotainment purposes. All right. Now, let's talk about the law. Let's talk about why all these cases happening in New York and why the hell is everybody getting sued for sexual assault? Like, it's two reasons, okay? It's two reasons, well, three reasons. It's three reasons that are causing all of these people in New York City to have court cases for sexual assault filed against them. All right. The first reason is they probably or potentially could have committed an actual sexual assault. That's reason number one. That's option number one. Option number two is somebody is capping, somebody's lying on them. They just trying to get a bag and they trying to arm them into a settlement just by fear of ruining their reputation in litigation. That's option number two. Option number three, a New York law is in place. Oh, yeah, I know, man. It's terrible. Everybody's being sued for sexual assault. It's getting kind of ridiculous out here. I was like, it's all going to come to an abrupt end, though. We're going to see these cases die down. The sexual assaults won't occur as much, especially in New York City. And this is why. The number three reason. Reason number one, they did it. Reason number two, somebody's lying on them trying to get a bag. Reason number three is New York has a law that's in place that's giving everybody the opportunity to file these lawsuits. But the important part of it is, when the law expires, it expires on Thanksgiving. So the reason you're seeing all of these lawsuits, okay, it's two of the three. It's either number one, an assault happened, and number three, this law is about to expire, so they want to go ahead and get their case in. Or an alternative is somebody lying and they want to use this statute to get their case in. Now, what does this statute do? Essentially, what this statute do, and I talked about it on the video the other day I did, but essentially what this statute does is it pauses, or what we say in the legal community, it tolls the statute of limitation for any type of sexual assault conduct. So if that assault happened in 2015, 2013, this statute actually places a hold, to stay on that time frame, and it allowed them a certain amount of time, a year period, to actually bring that lawsuit. This statute is going to expire tomorrow. So before everybody get their turkey in, they was like, you know what? We filing these lawsuits. We filing these lawsuits. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know the quality of the attorneys involved here, but some of these complaints that I looked at are looking at kind of ridiculous. Like, yeah, shout out to Cassie, because one, I think she sued the person who had the most amount of money. I think Diddy's a billionaire. I'm pretty certain of that. But two, her attorneys wrote a complaint that was actually just beautiful. When I went through and read it, I was like, you know what? This complaint was well written. This was actually a nicely written complaint. When I went through and read the LA Reid complaint, they couldn't even get the signature block right. I was like, God damn, this complaint is terrible. It was factually weak. But that's the reason why you're seeing all of these lawsuits. This is a New York specific law. That's why everybody is filing their lawsuits in New York. So if you out there, what time is it? All right, it's almost 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. They do have late filing in some courts, and I believe they got it in the Southern District of New York. So it's almost 10 o'clock. You got about 2 more hours to pray to God that whatever it is you may have allegedly done or not done doesn't get filed in court, because it's 2 hours left. people got 2 hours left to file those lawsuits. So they not coming for the regular people. They coming for any celebrity who's been in New York and possibly either committed a crime, or in the alternative, they think they can finesse them out of some money. They coming for you, and y'all got about 120 minutes left to pray that y'all dodge this bullet. That's crazy. It's a cold game, man. Jimmy Iovine got to be 1,000 years old. I'm not saying that. Hey, I'm not saying that this didn't happen, because if someone said, name a profession where you think sexual assaults occur more than anything, I think the music industry would probably be right up there with the military. Like, the military is pretty terrible. Historically, not so much now. They got a little better, but historically, the military has had a high level for a place of employment of sexual assaults. I would probably put the music industry there. Any industry where it's predominantly male dominated, like law enforcement, those numbers are probably high. So the music industry definitely is not all sweet. Now we know that Jamie Foxx almost passed away this year. Wasn't he in the hospital? We still don't know what the hell he was in the hospital for. But we're gonna dive in real quick to this complaint against Jamie Foxx. Remember, anytime a complaint comes out, no matter how detailed or egregious it may be, Diddy, because that complaint was terrible. But no matter how detailed, egregious, how many facts it is, me as an objective person who understands how the legal system is supposed to work, hey, I'm not saying where there's smoke, there isn't fire. But when a complaint is filed, I always give my deference to the accused, to the person who is in the defendant seat, because it's a complaint. I've been through I've drafted hundreds of complaints. I've read hundreds of complaints. You can put anything in a complaint. Literally, someone would come in my office and say, hey, DFD, A, B, C, D, and happened to me. And they can give you details for A, B, and C, and D. They like, it's kind of sketchy. You're like, know what? We're going to throw it all in the complaint, and we'll figure it out at trial. So, hey, remember, the deference got to go to the defendant. It's an innocent until proven guilty type of thing. If you settle, you aren't guilty, but technically you aren't guilty, but we know how people perceive that in the eyes of the law. People settle for all reasons. Like, you could generally not be guilty and be like, I just don't want to deal with it. It's cheaper to pay this person than to actually litigate this case. Not saying that's what happened in the case of Diddy, but hey, a settlement necessarily doesn't mean you're guilty. It just means you wanted to resolve it out of court amicably. All right, now let's dive into this complaint against brother Eric Bishop. Now, let me give y'all the speed through background. Okay, restaurant, New York City, 2015. The young lady at the time is 18, I believe. And that's the background. I think they were at a rooftop bar or something to that effect. So Jane Doe, very smart plaintiff here. I think is very smart for a plaintiff if you're suing a celebrity and you aren't a celebrity to use Jane Doe, John Doe, something like that. Cause you imagine like if I was like, oh man, I was the lighting guy at the Beyonce tour, and she touched my butt. If I sue Beyonce, man, the Beehive would be outside trying to stone me to death when I come out. So I think generally, from a legal standpoint, it is a smart move if you're a non-celebrity to use an acronym Jane, John Doe, unidentify yourself. Just because, I mean, think about it. If you some random person and you were suing a governor, a president. Do you really want to put your name out there? Nah, it wouldn't be the smartest thing to do. So we got Jane Doe plaintiff against Eric Marlon Bishop, aka Jamie Foxx, all the Catch NYC, Roof Catch NYC Inc. All of those are essentially the company that she worked for. She was working as a waitress, if I'm not mistaken. This complaint was filed in New York City, of course, because of that law. That's why we're seeing this, and I wouldn't be shocked if something else popped up either tonight or we heard about something that was filed late in the morning. Okay, attorneys, law office of Michael S. Lamonsoff. Michael S. Lamonsoff. I feel like that's the name of the attorney who be on the Breakfast Club, who advertised on the Breakfast Club. That name sounds familiar. He sounds like a Breakfast Club attorney. All right, these are all the entities: Eric Bishop, Jamie Foxx, Ventura, California. All of the companies: Catch Hospitality, blah 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 blah. All right, plaintiff Jane Doe by her attorneys, parties. I think we all know who Jamie Foxx is. If you don't know who Jamie Foxx is, pause it, Google him, and come back because I don't think that is needs to be explained. He's only the greatest entertainer that we've had in the history of entertainment. I mean, go to a Jamie Foxx concert. You're gonna get some acting, some comedy, and some R&B singing, and he might play the piano too. Greatest entertainer of all time in my book, over Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson only gonna dance and sing. He ain't gonna make you laugh. You might laugh at him, but not with him. All right, we're gonna scroll down to the look. Catch Hospitality Group. Catch. They naming everybody, her whole employer. Statement of facts. All right. This is where the meat and potatoes are, so we're gonna just jump straight to it. This matter is filed timely as it is brought pursuant to the Adult Survivors Act. That's the statute I told you that's expiring, so they filing the shit out of these cases. Again, may or may not be justified, but they trying to get them in before that expires. The statute, which states in pertinent part, notwithstanding any provision of law which imposes a period of limitation to the. Why they write it like this? See, that's why people hate lawyers, and they write it like this on purpose. They could have wrote this in two fucking sentences, and it would have been real simple. See, I didn't even. This is my first time like really reading this. All right, I'm gonna try to skip to the part that's in plain English. Every civil claim or cause of action brought against any party alleging intentional or negligent acts or omissions, blah blah blah, or other injuries suffered as a result of conduct which would constitute sexual offense as defined by statute against such person who was 18 years of age or older, or incest is defined by blah blah blah. Essentially, long story short, the penal law committed against such person who was 18 years of older, which is barred as the effective date of this section, because of applicable period of limitation has expired. If the plaintiff previously failed to file notice of claim or notice of intention to file a claim, is hereby revived, and action thereon may be commenced not earlier than 6 months after. You see how they write this? They write it like that. So when the regular person read it, they're like, Mr. Weeks, let me pay you some money. You know, they want to pay a brother. They want to reach out to me as counsel to pay me. But essentially, it says it revives the claim. It gives you an additional year to bring the claim if you never filed it before. All right, defendant's actions described herein all occurred while plaintiff was over the age of 18. On or about August 26, 2015, at approximately 11 p.m. At approximately 11 p.m., plaintiff and a friend arrived at 21 Ninth Avenue for the purpose of getting seats at the rooftop lounge and bar. Upon being seated, plaintiff noticed that defendant Mark Brenbaum was seated one table away having drinks with defendant Eric Marlon Bishop, aka Jamie Foxx. Not long after being seated, plaintiff and her friend observed a large crowd growing around defendant Brenbaum and Fox's table. As a result, defendant John/Jane Doe's, those are other employees at the restaurant, John/Jane Doe's 1 through 10, began moving the crowd of patrons away, including nearly all of the patrons seated at the table near Brenbaum and Fox. Despite them being the only two remaining in the area, plaintiff and her friend were never asked to move from their table located beside Brenbaum and Fox's table. Okay, so they were actually patrons, it appeared. I thought they were working there, but they were actually patrons. See, y'all reading it when I'm reading it. But they were never asked to move their table, which was located by Jamie Foxx's and Brenbaum's table. At some point, nearby, approximately 1 a.m. on August 27th, after many patrons had left the area, plaintiff's friend stood up from the table, walked over to defendant Foxx, and asked if he would take a picture with her and plaintiff. Foxx stated, "Sure, baby, anything for you," and walked to plaintiff's table. Several photographs were taken. While taking photographs, plaintiff observed that Foxx seemed intoxicated. Yeah, it's 1 in the morning and he's sitting at a damn restaurant or bar. Like, okay, I get it though. They want to bolster it up like he was intoxicated. So the council is trying to do their job, but like, yeah, if I'm out somewhere at 1 in the morning with a friend sitting at a table, I'm probably gonna be intoxicated too, or nice at least. I may not be twisted, but I'm gonna be nice at least. All right. While taking photographs, plaintiffs observed that Foxx seemed intoxicated. At one point, Foxx roughly grabbed plaintiff's phone out of her hand and took additional photographs. All right. Now, is that like, I don't know. Like, isn't that what you would want a celebrity to do? Like, if I saw, like, who would be a celebrity if I saw him, I'd be like, yo, that's like, I don't know. But if it was a celebrity out there who DFD was enamored with, right? If I'm enamored with a celebrity and I'm like, let's take a picture and we take a selfie, it probably worked better because I got long ass arms. But I take a selfie and they were like, I was like, thank you. And they took my phone and took 2 or 3 more selfies. Like, I don't know. Isn't that what you want? I don't know. I feel like that's like normal reaction or would be something that would be welcome if you saw a celebrity and you asked them to take photos. That's just my personal opinion. But hey, that's something that I just feel like that's a challengeable point. He roughly took the phone out your hand, so you upset? Like, nah, that don't make any sense. Okay. Foxx roughly grabbed plaintiff's phone out of her hand and took additional photographs, which is what we want celebrities to do. Now, she'd have really been upset if he was like, get the hell out of here. I don't want to take no damn pictures. But, I digress. Again, these are all allegations, may or may not be true. Foxx then made several comments to plaintiff, including, wow, you have the supermodel body. You smell so good and you look like Nikki. When plaintiff asked, who's Nikki, Foxx replied, Gabrielle Union. Foxx proceeded to grab plaintiff by her arm and pulled her back to the back area of the rooftop. Once in a more secluded area, Foxx placed. Hey, all right. Let's pause right there real quick. We got to take a pause for the cause right there real quick. If y'all watch these videos where we went through some of these complaints, like we'll never see another complaint that's as detailed factually as the complaint against Diddy. We just won't see it. The reason we won't see it because this example is more indicative of what you would see in a alleged sexual assault allegation. One instance that occurred over a 1 or 2 hour period, maybe no more than a day. Diddy's was unique because it was a 10-year period. 10 years mean there's so much damn physical evidence, it's so much witness testimony. it's going to be detailed. It's just going to be an easy case that would make somebody settle in 2.2 minutes. When we turned the page and we looked at LA Reid case, I told y'all the other day, yesterday, that case is definitely way more flimsy because in those allegations, LA Reid always seemed to make sure that he was in a situation where it was just him and the plaintiff. I think the only other people there were the pilot and the private jet staff who probably didn't see anything. If they didn't see anything, they probably get paid to not see anything. And I think another instance that she talked about in the limo with the driver, his eyes on the road. He ain't paying attention to what's going on in the back. Now, let's take a look at this complaint, okay? In this complaint, she was on this rooftop. They cleared everybody out except her and her homegirl, who table was still there beside Jamie Foxx and his guy, Brenbaum, whoever the hell that is. All right. She go over, ask for photos. She take a photo. He take the phone, takes more photos. She talk about him being intoxicated, it being rough when he took the phone out. I don't know. I think people would be excited if the celebrity took their phone and took more pictures and gave them the phone back. That's just my take on that part. Now, here is where again I I just smell just so many holes in this case. Not necessarily holes, and I'm not saying it didn't happen, but it says that he took her to a secluded area of the rooftop. So of all the rooftop, your friend stayed there, his friend stayed there. It's a secluded area with just those two. What is these facts, or what are these facts missing that we probably would have had in the Diddy case? Is a lot of eyewitness testimony. There in the Diddy case, there was actually a clip of 50 Cent that was taken years ago where he said that he actually had got sent pictures of Cassie engaged in sexual acts with someone else on his cell phone. So it was evidence out there. In this case, there'll be nobody to bring to the stand to testify as to what actually happened. I'm not saying that it didn't happen. I'm just saying that when you got a case when is he said this, she said this, and there's no facts in between to tip the scales one way or another, that's a case that is going to go to the defendant because you got to prove that the defendant actually committed the acts. That's just kind of how it works. But I just wanted to point that out. All right. So he said she looked like Gabby Union. Fox proceeded to grab the plaintiff by her arm and pulled her to the back area of the rooftop. Once in a more secluded area, Fox placed both his hands on the plaintiff's waist, moved them under the plaintiff's crop top, and began rubbing her breast. Plaintiff was caught off guard and attempted to step away from Fox. Plaintiff noticed defendant John Doe. Defendant John Doe is probably a staff or somebody at the restaurant or at the bar. Yeah, see, next sentence, next line. I should have probably read instead of intervening. Plaintiff noticed defendant John Doe, a security guard of one of the defendants, some distance away, who saw what was happening but walked away further. Okay, so now she removed. So she said he had a security guard who was there, who saw what was going on, but he walked away. All right, so this security guard gets paid by Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx probably had since 2015. He probably had 50 security guards. We don't know if that security guard is still alive, still around. We don't know how the payola may or may not have worked out. We don't know if he's actually available to be held into court or a deposition. That dude could live in Cancun somewhere, and if he's out of the reach of the court, he's out of the reach of the court. But that's just some food for thought. All right, she attempted to step away. She noticed John Doe, security guard for the defendant, some distance away, who saw what was happening, but he walked away further. Fox proceeded to slide his hands into the plaintiff's pants and put his fingers on the plaintiff's good. We just gonna leave it like that. We can't get too crazy out here in these YouTube streets. But y'all can see what it is. It's blown up big on the screen. As this was happening, plaintiff's friend walked over looking for plaintiff. Okay, that's interesting. As this was happening, plaintiff's friend walked over looking for plaintiff. Now, that's I can't that's written in a way where I can't determine, the way it's written. I'm taking that to be written as allegedly this was occurring. She saw her friend walking over. He stopped, and the friend didn't see anything. Because the way that's written, if the friend was walking over and friend saw it, I think that it would have been mentioned that as the friend was walking over looking for me, she saw this, this, and this. The same way she mentioned in the previous sentence that the defendant's bodyguard who was there saw it, then he walked away. So that's going to be interesting because I mean, if you wanted to make this case stronger, you would presumably want that friend there who was looking for you to testify as to what she saw. But the way this is written, in my opinion, hey, I'm a words on my trade, but the way this is written, as I see it on his face, is this was happening. Plaintiff friends walked over looking for plaintiff. Fox stopped touching plaintiff and walked over to where defendant John Doe, a security guard, was standing. So she already said the security guard saw the initial conduct with the upper region. He turned and walked away. He's out of the picture. I already talked about some of the issues that may be there with that his security guard. Then she says her friend walked over, but she doesn't say that her friend saw any of this. All right. There was no negligent or intentional acts on the part of the plaintiff caused or contributed to said heinous touching and sexual assault of plaintiff. By reason of the foregoing, plaintiff was injured, rendered sick, sore, lame, and disabled. What? What? Okay. All right. I'm like disabled. Did they carry out on a stretcher, on a gurney? I'm confused. All right, let's finish. Let's finish reading it. As I'm reading this, if it don't make sense to me as I'm reading it, I know a damn sure wouldn't make sense to somebody else who they was explaining it to. All right. She was disabled, was caused to undergo medical treatment and advice, was unable to pursue her usual and regular activities, was caused to undergo great conscious pain and suffering, continues to undergo such, and will permanently be affected by the injuries and emotional distress she incurred as a result of the sexual assault, abuse, assault, and battery. Interesting. Severe emotional distress. Yeah, that's all. That language, severe emotional distress, is always going to be in there because I told y'all before, it's a legal cause of action, intentional infliction of emotional distress. That means the defendant either did something intentionally, or if it wasn't intentional, it was with reckless disregard for the potential impact on said plaintiff. Okay, plaintiff is entitled to recover damages from defendant. This weak sauce. First cause of action, sexual assault and battery, based on the same facts below. Second cause of action, negligent hiring, training, and supervision against defendants. Okay, so the second cause of action is she's suing the actual establishment itself because they should have had patrons, security mechanisms in place. Um, this is probably the weakest complaint of all the ones I read in this whole New York law situation. Cause man, I wanted to talk about money, man, but all these guys, they getting their worst anything that they may or may not have done legal or illegal is getting brought up now, man. And I was like, man, let me do it now because I damn sure wasn't gonna do it tomorrow, man. I'm gonna be eating some good food. I got my collard greens on the stove right now. Y'all know DFD is something like a chef over here. I got the collards slow cooking real low. I just cook them overnight real low. Whew. I'm telling you, it smells like collard greens. You clean them, and when you clean them, when you first put them in the pot, smell like an everlasting fart in your house. But then it take a while for them to actually start smelling like what they are, in fact. But yeah, man, I had to do this video, man, because somebody sent me that job, man, and I feel like Jamie Foxx was the best video to do. Like, who cares about Jimmy Iovine? He like 1,000 years old. Nobody care about that dude case or Marcellus Wiley. Like, kind of Marcellus Wiley, yeah, but nobody really know who Marcellus Wiley is, man, like that. So nah, man, I couldn't get that jump. After you told me about it the other day, I had already sent the missus to the store to get one. The minute you told me about it, I was like, damn, she just told me she already bought one. So yeah. And I don't want to have that junk sitting in my freezer taking up space for ice cream or something else that's delicious. But this complaint right here on Jamie Foxx is the worst of the three that we've looked at. For several reasons. Um Diddy is just a unique piece of art. We're going to put that in its own separate category because we'll probably never see a sexual assault case like that again, unless it's like somebody who wants some black snake moan, chain somebody to a heating unit and just keep them in their house. Uh, Jamie Jamie got brought back to life for this. I know, man. I started off by saying that dude was on life support, man, and he came back. You stupid. That's gonna be the title. I'm gonna change the title on this video for. I'm gonna change the title. That's gonna be the title of this. Hey, man, you sponsored this video with that. Jamie got brought back to life. That's gonna be the title of this video. I'm gonna edit that immediately. But yeah, so Diddy, we put in a special category, okay? In this case, she even failed to outline the details of what specifically caused her emotional harm. Like you'll see people use language like, "Hey, I had to go to therapy, and for years after that, I couldn't have any relationships." Like people normally talk about those things to bolster the amount of the emotional distress that they're dealing with. So, yo, this case, in my opinion, is definitely weak sauce. Hey, again, I'm not Eric Bishop's, aka Jamie Foxx lawyer, but it ain't no way in hell I'm selling this case. Like, nah, we gonna have to go to court. You got Michael Lamonsoff, the attorney who do his advertisements on the Breakfast Club. He might be nice in a bunch of areas, but nah, we gonna play this one out. So I don't anticipate a settlement coming from this case. And the other thing too is, unlike L.A. Reid, Jimmy Iovine, some of these other music guys, where they may have had allegations like these before, I don't recall ever hearing any allegations against Jamie Foxx of this type of nature. You know what I mean? And I think that that carries big because the court of public opinion, even though it's not actual court, it does play a role uh, in how a potential jury pool would view an individual. And I don't recall ever hearing anything assault related to Jamie Foxx. He the funny guy. You know what I mean? He kind of like the funny guy. So yeah, I don't think this is gonna go nowhere. Y'all let me know what y'all think about it in the comments. As always, hey, if you like this, check out the content that's on the screen because there's going to be more content related to finance and reactions. And it is officially 10:22 Eastern Standard Time. Okay. That New York law that allows people to bring these old ass sexual assault cases expires at midnight. So we're going to see, because courts do have late filing, emergency filing, after hours filing. We're going to see between now and midnight who else come out. I tell you, I ain't gonna be doing the video unless it's like fucking Barack Obama or something. It gotta be somebody. It gotta be somebody hella important for me to do another video because it's like now it's just I'm not. Hey, if it's true, I hope justice is served, whether it's true or false. If it's true, hey, justice should be served. If it's false, hey, justice should be served. But I'm gonna be honest, now it's getting kind of ridiculous. I agree with you, sis. I never heard anything about Jamie Foxx that would even give you the impression of something like, So I mean, not saying that just because you haven't had an instance, it doesn't happen, but it does carry some weight to it. Nope, just that Jamie smashed a bunch of, and that's what he's supposed to do, right? Like he should be like what's the guy who is he's the Lori Harvey of Hollywood? Common, they in the industry, they kind of rotate around. Everybody gets you get a Kardashian, you get a Kardashian, everybody gets a Kardashian. That's just kind of how it goes. So yeah, I don't think this is going nowhere. Yeah, definitely civilly. Yeah, it only allows for civil. I think if I'm not mistaken, and I have to look on that, I think they may have something criminally that allows them to bring some of these old cases, but I'm not sure. I gotta look because every state is different. So when they bring in these state claims in federal court, I would have to look at it, and that's the other thing too. Because if it was really, well, I'm not gonna say if it was really something viable, you would have filed a criminal case. But in theory, let Jamie Foxx touch my butt. I'm going to the prosecutor, and I'm gonna have the prosecutors file a case. Then I'm gonna go see a lawyer, and uh we gonna simultaneously bring these cases, a criminal and a civil lawsuit. But I think that, yeah, this case is just kind of weak sauce. I think this case is weak sauce. It's funny too, because like I don't think, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like I don't think guys know what sexual harassment is. Like if it's patently obvious by a woman, like she slapped you on the ass or something, you would be like, "Oh, that's sexual assault." But I think some of the subtle things you don't know. Because I remember, hey, real talk, I'm gonna give this last story before I get out of here, right? I remember sitting through like an annual EEO sexual assault class or something like that. And while I'm sitting in this class, right, they start talking about, oh, they was like, and sexual assault happened to men in the workplace too. And you like, who getting sexual assaulted in the workplace as a guy? Like that's kind of wild, right? And then they showed like a video, and in the video, it was like this guy at a copy machine. He was making copies, and this older lady came by and was like, "Oh, that suit looked real nice on you today." And she like put her hands on his shoulder. Or when she was walking by, she like, how back in the day when you was in the club and you walking in the club and like you walking through people and you walking through a girl who may look nice and you could clearly walk through her, but you kind of like put your hand on them a little bit. You're not even moving them out the way. You just put your hand on them. This lady in the video put her hands on the guy at the copy machine like that. She was like, "You look real nice in your suit," and touched his shoulders. Then when she walked by, she like kind of put her hands on him, and I was like, "That's harassment." I was like, "Oh man, I might have got harassed by this old lady at the job at the copy machine before." I didn't know, but subtle things where it could be harassing. They used to talk about it on Foxhole back in the day. I don't know who she was. Uh, I don't know. I don't know who she was, but I heard Corey Holcomb talking about her once, and that in a good way. Definitely a cash grab, yo. And it should be like, what should happen though. Um, this is my no, unless they are looking to sue civilly. Yeah, that's correct. I think though what should happen is, okay, if the statute should be written in a way because you got to protect people on the back end, right? And so this is how the statute I would have wrote it, just to protect both sides. This statute is solely written to protect the plaintiff with not a lot of thought to the defendant. So the statute I would have wrote it to had language that would say something to the effect of, if the defendant in this case is found not liable by means of trial, or this case isn't resolved or resolved pursuant to a settlement for amount less than a certain dollar amount, the plaintiff has to bear the cost of the attorney's fees. I bet you people wouldn't have been filing that shit if it wasn't true. If it wasn't true, people would not, they'd have been like, you know what? They'd have been like, yo, you know what? I'm not filing that damn case. So that would have been perfect. Like, yo, if the defendant goes to trial and win, you're on the hook for his attorney fees, and he can get a judgment against you for the attorney fees that he can file in court and put a lien on any property that you own. Or in the event, if this case is settled, because to get a case in federal court, the amount has to be in excess of $75,000. It could be 75,000, 75 and one. It could be $7 million, but it has to be in excess of $75,000. So I think the language should have said, or if this case is settled for less than the minimum amount to establish jurisdiction in this court, which would be $75,000, plaintiff, you got to pay the attorney fees. I bet you this case wouldn't have got filed. Now, Diddy, Andre Harrell, Jimmy Iovine, them shits might have got filed. But I know for a fact that this one definitely would have got filed. But that's that. I don't know. I think these laws is kind of biased, and like, hey, politicians, God bless them. What's going on, Demetri Prince? Thanks for tuning in. They try to do the right thing, but I don't know who the hell they talk to or what council they talk to when they write these laws, but they'll write a law intending it to do A. It really does B. Then somebody got to go back later on down the line to actually clean everything up. But when you make laws like this, if you're going to extend the time to give the plaintiff to file a claim, you got to put a mechanism in place to protect the defendant from this extended additional time. That's just my way of thinking. I don't know. Some women's association may come after me, but I think that would be a fair way to do it. The legal system is about equity. Okay, I can't make something that's favorable for A, but not put a mechanism in there to protect side B if A is on some bullshit. That's just my opinion. But y'all let me know what y'all think about it in the comments. As always, I thank y'all for tuning in. Everybody have a happy holiday. Eat turkey. If you don't eat turkey, eat salmon, whatever it is. I got a pain in the ass situation here because my wife only eats seafood. So I gotta cook 2 pots of greens. Ain't that some bullshit? I'm gonna do it because I love her, but it's annoying. I gotta cook one delicious pot with like smoked neck bones and ham hocks all stewing in the collard greens and everything. Then I gotta cook another basic ass pot over here that's still good, but it's just ain't nothing in that bitch but vegetables, water, and seasoning. Maybe a little. I can't believe it's not butter. Man, that should take so much time, but I'm gonna do it. That's what we do for our loved ones. Y'all make sure y'all have a good one. Be safe, be blessed. Peace.